way I look at it is there's two selves, there's two eyes. Okay, and you can use whatever version you want, the divine self and the normal self. Like what came to me in the dark, and this was just free-flowing kind of in journal, was there was what I call a mortal self and the immortal self. And the distinction between the two is how I separate myself from my emotion and make that choice. So the mortal self will be like, okay, I'm feeling fear. And as you know, these thoughts and feelings can feel so real. They can feel like this is who I am in this moment, right? Yeah. But as we were just talking about, that's not who you are. They're fleeting. They're going to go up and down, and you're not defined by that, right? So you are that choice. So the immortal self is the higher self, the divine self, that when you talked about bringing the God, the divinity within, to transcend that and be something more. And this is why I like playing on the edges when I'm out there. Dude, right now, training for what I'm training for, which, the 110-day expedition across Antarctica, I am constantly in fear. There is not a day that goes, maybe a day if I'm really busy with work, but I would say for the most part, not a day that goes by where I don't feel a tremendous amount of fear about what awaits me out there. Yeah. And so one self can feel it, but the other self can acknowledge its beauty. Like that fear is beautiful. Fear kills complacency. In Iraq, we always used to say complacency kills, and fear prevents that. Because my fear is like, you better get your ass out the door and train, right? Or whatever it may be. So the divine self, the immortal self, can look at this thing, this emotion, this thought, and say, it's there. Who do I want to be outside of it? You mentioned earlier, I was very blessed when I got the endorsement from the Dalai Lama. When I reached out to him, it took 5 months of building a relationship with this monk there. The whole time, I wasn't getting an email back. I was like, who am I? They probably hate me. What if they think my book is stupid? All this stuff we go on in our head, right? That story that we have. Right. And in the moment, it can feel so real. No, it's true. It's not just a thought. It's true, right? But I can feel it, acknowledge it's there. All right, hey, cool, I got you. You're there. This mortal self is having this thought, but I'm not going to be defined by it. So I'd follow up anyway, take action anyway, move forward anyway, right? Yeah. And still, to this day, this thought can be there, but it's not going to define my reality. And that, to your point, it comes with practice. A simple, very simple tool is simply like labeling the emotion. I feel fear, I feel anger. Neuroscience actually shown when you label an emotion, it reduces activity in the emotional parts of your brain, the limbic system, and increases activity in the part of your brain related to focus and awareness, the prefrontal cortex. So it simply labeling it creates the space. Now you can say, okay, I feel fear. Like instead of saying I am depressed, you could say my brain goes to a state of depression from time to time, but I am not my brain, and my brain is not me. This is not who I am. And a very simple tool that I do all the time is talking out loud to myself.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody was like filming me while I was training, I look like a crazy person.
It's cool. I call it a staff meeting.
I love that. I love that. Exactly. Because when you talk out loud, you're bringing focus to that. Yeah. It's not this chaotic stuff running around in here, right? Like now I'm bringing because then my it's like a choice I'm making to speak these words into reality. Yeah. And the words I speak into reality are coming from that immortal self that I'm, like my highest self. That's who is going to speak right now. And that will shut down the other stuff if need be, And I do this a lot when I'm training because I'll be going through moments where just like, this sucks, and you're feeling like moments of self-pity maybe, and then I will talk out loud to myself to awaken that warrior to keep fighting, to keep moving the next step forward,
I love it. Thank you for sharing that too. I feel like that could really help a lot of people. And I feel like as an only child, I talked a lot to myself, and that's why I was making that joke about it. But like it's really helpful because it's so easy to have a thought in your head, but it's another set of intention to actually say it out loud.
Exactly.
And then when you hear it out loud, that's a whole other thing because you may not actually agree with what you say, which is okay. So we're allowed to say something and not agree with it, and and be like, wow, maybe I had this thought, but it's not, now that I hear it, it's like, do I, and that's good. It's good to question.
Exactly.
It's good to understand ourselves. And that's, again, back to this choice. I mean, the beauty of the present moment is we get an opportunity to learn about who we are in every now moment.
Yeah.
Like we get to choose differently.
Yeah.
Or if we really like that's who we are, and that's what we want to, bring more permanence into that I am or that is-ness, then we get to choose that. We get the opportunity to continue to choose it as the world around us is like, hey, are you sure you want to be? Are you sure you want to be more empathetic to yourself because here's more suffering? Or are you sure you want to be patient because this is going to be difficult?
It's gonna test you.
Yeah, and those tests or those opportunities are presented to us so that we can continue to choose that, so we can know ourselves in that way.
Yeah.
And the more that we choose it, the more it becomes first nature. It becomes just who we are. And then those moments that we kind of lull in, whether it's depression or anxiety or fear, we recognize that, maybe where it might have taken us a couple days or even a week to kind of stay in that in order to get ourselves out, that can dwindle. It can turn into a matter of, just one day or a couple hours or down to even a couple minutes or even a few seconds.
100%.
When we fully understand and practice like who we are inside, and we have that conviction of like, look, this is an experience, but I know who I am, and I trust in who I am, and I trust in my journey.
Yeah.
And so,
and that comes with practice, and that's to normalize that, man. There was a point in my life where I'd be drinking a 750 milliliter bottle of vodka a day. I would be throwing up. As soon as I'm done throwing up, pick up the bottle again. Like, my body's rejecting this poison, and I'm still drinking. Like, that was my low. Today, and I really try to stress this point because sometimes people see the things I do and think, oh, he's unique and special. Like, it's not that at all. Far from it, But today, like the low, like we were just talking earlier, when I was in Iceland doing a training expedition, I had 7 big rocks in my sled, was dragging this heavy sled up a hill in slushy snow. After about 10 hours of the day, I looked at my GPS and I thought I was maybe, 20 minutes from camp. My GPS showed I still had about 2 hours left to go. And I had this moment of just dejection, like, fuck this, I don't want to be here, this sucks. But it was like maybe 30 seconds, and then I was like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. This is why you are here, That's the one of the strongest tools to navigate suffering, and this comes with training, is like sort of step one is, okay, not demonizing it. This is okay. I'm feeling it, right? Like, one of my mantras, I use mantras a lot, is be with what is, but do not become what is. This actually came to me on a run. I was going through one of my many ultra marathons, and I was feeling pain, as you do. And I was like, all right, be with the pain, but do not become the pain. Be with it. And so, okay, be with this. It's sort of step one. And step two is you embrace it. This is not like I accept it, now I'm embracing it. There's something here. And then step three is kind of you seek it. Like, I'm now, when I go out in these arenas, like, and I'm human, so I'll have slow moments where I kind of hate it for a second, but then I remind myself, like, this is why you are here. If you weren't trying, like, if you wanted easy, I remember once I did an 80-mile run around this 0.2-mile loop, and while I was training for it, I remember thinking, oh, I hope it's not too hard, and then I was like, if you wanted it to be easy, why in God's name would you run 80 miles around a 0.2-mile loop? So what are you talking about? This is, again, my self-talk, right? Like, shut up. Like, it's going to be. And so now you seek the suffering, and now when it comes, you are able to face it with love, face it with joy, face it. Because look, we're going to experience it, whether you seek it or not, And so when you train yourself to smile in the face of it, to suffer well, my core mantra, you can handle life, whether it punches you in the face or whether you're pursuing your worthy challenge, whatever the challenge may be. Any worthy path is going to be hard. Raising kids, playing a guitar, skiing across Antarctica, whatever it may be, it will be hard. But if you embrace the suffering of it and you fall in love with it, and you start by everything we've talked about before, right? You don't define yourself with it. You don't identify with it. It's just there. But it doesn't mean that's who you are. And so I went from like this guy drinking, 750 milliliters of vodka a day to 30 seconds of feeling a low moment and being like, all right, stop feeling sorry and let's keep moving forward. Kept moving forward, did a 12-hour day. Next day, woke up in another 9-hour day. That comes with time. Like, I wasn't born this way, I built it. And anybody with stepping into that arena over and over again can build that self as well.